When I went to OCS, George Floyd was just murdered. President Trump was still in office, and there was still talks of better budget and all this stuff. But none of that ever happened. When I came back, I immediately got rid of my Republican Party membership and exchanged that for a libertarian one after having conversations with people in the party and my uncle. And the main reason for this is that the Republican Party contradicts itself with some of its values, which is the reason that I no longer subscribe to a Republican philosophy. I subscribe to a libertarian one, which is based on the protective shield of personal freedoms rather than the umbrella where some stuff may fall through in the event of public safety being the question or the problem at hand, as well as some personal freedoms just aren't guaranteed because they go against social conservative values. But to begin with, I should go over the contradictions. Now, one of the many contradictions that looms large in my mind is the abortion rights question that a lot of Republicans have decided to mount and bear the cross of, as if it's the last hill to die on. And it's really ironic because the Republican Party is known as the Party of Personal Freedoms. That's what its nickname is. Yet abortion, a personal freedom, is not guaranteed by them on the grounds of social conservative values. That is a contradiction in my view, and I do believe that people should be allowed to make those kinds of choices themselves. That's every woman's right. It's not really up to negotiation with somebody who's not them unless it's a doctor. And other issues, such as the Patriot Act. The Republicans trumped and triumphed the Patriot Act in the name of public safety. However, they do the opposite when it comes to gun control. They say, my rights don't end where your fears begin. That's the exact opposite of what a lot of them use the Patriot Act for, to subject and screen American citizens just because of their skin color and their religious identification. It's not something that they totally did on an even keel. But the sex rights issues as well are another one where it's like, well, yes, I will guarantee this group of individuals the right to marry and have children and all of this. But if you choose to like another man, if you're a man, it's going to be a bit more of a difficult process for you, even if you're qualified for it. And this kind of served to pull me away from the Republican Party and lead me to the Libertarian Party, which, again, uses that shield of personal freedoms, where it's more about free markets, where there's not companies getting these massive government subsidies. There are more free peoples and organizations that are actually allowed to have their share of the market. There's also pro-sex rights. So a sex worker is now able to earn a fair wage with no risk of being arrested, and safe substance use, another issue that many Republicans choose to die on because most drugs come from criminals. Well, if they're legalized, then there's no crime, and the government can even get revenue from taxes from that. I know that's not a strictly libertarian philosophy, but still. Not to mention, what also came of this is that I actually began having more amicable conversations with other people from different parties, because I now look through it as a lens of personal freedoms and a lens of just, this is my world, you're your world. That's the only thing that matters. We have our stuff, you have your stuff. We don't need to share any of that. Because at the end of the day, most people are looking for that quest. They are on the quest for more personal freedoms. Whereas the Republicans kind of confuse that in some cases with, well, it goes against social conservative values, or public safety is that question. And all of this really served to kind of fault me in my beliefs with them. And that's why I gave up the Republican Party and instead became a libertarian.